Okay, I have the answer.
Okay, what do you think is the answer?
Do you need me to wait until Vino done?
Okay, let's wait.
Okay.
I'm done too. Hello?
Okay, you answered that, Veno.
Yes, yes, yes.
What do you think is the answer?
I think, do you want me to answer or the other person? I'm sorry, I don't
Both
understand.
of you. Like everyone
Okay,
says his answer.
okay. The answer is B, I feel.
Yeah, okay. What do you think, Qusay?
Bubale go with A.
Do you think it's A?
Yeah.
Okay, so you A and Veno B. I think B is the
Yes.
correct answer. So let's see why. I want Qusay to explain why A is the correct answer.
Okay.
Okay.
They think right here that this device was necessarily a structure comprised is clear from the fact that the cannibal quickly disappeared when a sculpture learned how they strengthen the internal structure of a status with ion braces. So my guess is they try to use a tool different than when they've been used before. That's why I'm choosing A.
So you think that they began using a new material that made the statue way
Exactly.
less. Okay,
Hmm.
is this explicitly and clearly mentioned in the passage? Like where it is in the passage, in the paragraph, in which sentence, in which line?
There'll be the third line at the bottom when they start that this device was a necessary structure. Structure comprised is clear from the fact that the cannibal quickly disappeared. Do you see the line, the third line at the bottom when you start with that?
Okay, when sculptors learned how to strengthen the internal structure of a statue with iron braces, iron being much stronger than bronze. So they learned when did they like let's well, what this device, what this is referring to?
Okay, could I answer?
Okay, wait a little bit, Veno.
Okay, okay, sorry.
What do you think the device is, Qusay?
Uh, I'm not sure exactly what kind of device they've been using. It's, uh, I mean, the cannonball
Yeah,
is a
it's the
cannonball.
cannonball. It's
Is a
the
can
ball. If we read
Yeah.
the previous sentence, it says, um, in other words, the demands of the laws of physics, not the sculptor's aesthetic intentions, it placed the ball there. That this device was a necessary structural compromise. So this device is, they mean the ball. So the ball is clear from the fact it was a necessary structural compromise. Okay, from the fact the cannonball quickly disappeared when sculptors learned how to strengthen the internal structure of a statue with iron braces. So it was a compromise. It was like something to support, structural support. And when they learned how to strengthen the internal structure of a statue without the need for this structural support, they just disappeared. They no longer rely on it. So what made what the question is asking for? It's asking about because. Because is about the reason. So it's asking about the reason why the cannonball, why they stopped using the cannonballs. So in other words, this is paraphrased as we've just said. Paraphrasing, it holds the same meaning, but in other words. In the passage, in the paragraph, it was mentioned that they quickly disappeared. Well, the same meaning as they stopped using it. Okay, so why they disappeared?
Mm-hmm.
Because they learned how to strengthen the internal structure of a statue. He didn't mention that they began using a material that made the statues weigh less.
Mm. Okay.
He didn't talk about the material that the statue was made from. He talked about how they strengthened the internal structure. So I think B is the correct one because they found a way to strengthen the statues internally. It is completely like like the paragraph, how to strengthen the internal structure of a statue. So it's internally. Do you get it?
I got it. Yes.
Okay, great. What do you think, Venom? Why B is the correct answer?
Okay. Yeah. So as the paragraph began, first I looked at the question and they were asking about uh, why this cannonballs were used in bronze statues, etc. So with that point in mind, I started reading, and we talked about for initially the problems that the artists faced during making an art. Could be on the a paint or could be on the sculptures. And they also mentioned that they had to raise the four leg of these arts, not just for aesthetic or creative intention, but just to
Could you please raise your
handle
voice?
loss of this.
Could you please raise
Okay.
your voice because I can't
This
hear you well? Yeah.
Sure, sure. So they initially started talking about the difficulties that an artist faces during creating an art piece, and they also mentioned that they had to raise the bronze horse, the horse's leg, just to ensure that everything, it meets or it goes in tandem with the laws of physics, so that it is maintained in the structure that it's supposed to be held at. And that is the reason I thought it is second. It's not aesthetical and creative purpose of the artist, but ensure that the art is laid well in a structure to be stabilized manner.
So it's all about the internal strengthening of the structure, right?
Yes, they want to stabilize the structure. It's not merely about the aesthetic or creative aspect of the artist, but he has to ensure that his art is well stabilized. That's his advantage.
Okay. Also, it cares about the structure. Like it wants if we didn't go back to the passage, it holds a meaning and an initial meaning that the material, when it's weightless, it's common sense that the statue will be more stable. Okay, so why not A?
One second.
Do you hear me?
Yes, I'm reading it once.
Okay, Qusay, how you've approached the question? How did you begin? Like, what the steps that you followed to answer this
Okay.
question?
So the first thing, when I, when I read the question, when they ask about, according to paragraph two, sculpt, a sculptor in the Italian Renaissance stopped using cannonballs and bronze instead of horse because. So uh, I'm looking to the keywords. So the keywords right here, there'll be Italian Renaissance, and they are stopping using cannonballs. The cannonballs is the keyword. So I
Yeah,
have to go
yeah,
to the
right, correct.
paragraph. I have to go to the paragraph and start skimming. When you start reading in the first one, two, three, four, 5 lines, the first 5 lines, they don't mention anything about the cannonball. So that one I can
I got it
dismiss
now.
it. I don't go back to it. I start focus when they start, for example, in the early Italian Renaissance, a bronze status of horses with a raised foreleg usually had a cannonball. So I start focusing from this one. They start usually had a cannonball under that paw. This was done because the cannonball was needed to support the weight of the leg. So they've been used the cannonball for one reason. The reason to use the cannonball is support the weight of the leg. Then they
Yeah,
will start explain, in the other words, the demands of the laws of physics, not the sculpture aesthetic intentions. Place the poll there that this device was a necessary structure comprised. That's why I choose A. When they say that's this device was a necessary, like it's one part of their sculpture. They say that this device was necessary structure comprised is a clear from the fact that the cannibal quickly disappeared. I don't get attention for this one when they say the cannibal quickly disappeared. When the sculptures learn how to strengthen the internal structure of a state with iron places, after you explain, I get attention. The right answer B, because they explicitly here when they said sculptors learn how to strengthen the internal structure of a state with iron presses. So I have to get attention when I found the keywords. I have to go two sentences before, two sentences after, and make sure I understood the passage to get to the right answer. Then I have to go back to the choices from A to D and start eliminate. So I eliminate D when they say the cannibal added too much weight to the status. They don't mention anything if they add weight. So I
yeah,
eliminate D. I
exactly,
eliminate
exactly.
C. I eliminate C when they say the aesthetic taste of the public had changed over the time. They don't mention this one at all. So I take
Yeah,
it out.
correct.
B, when they say they found a way to strengthen the status internally, I don't focus a lot on this one. I choose A because when I read it, they say that this device was a necessary structure comprised is clear from the fact. That's the reason I choose A. But at the end, I choose
Yeah,
the wrong way. But it's understood right now. I have to read it completely until finish the paragraph. Then I have to see which one, which choices is better than the other. Then I have to pick the right answer.
I
That's
really,
where I
really
trick.
love your approach and your answer. And this is what I was like just to say. I wanted to say the same approach that you used, but I think you made this. Although you made the wrong answer, you used the right approach. But your wrong answer was because you didn't finish reading the sentence. Because if you finish
Exactly.
reading it, you would say that this was the reason, because that this device was a necessary structural compromise. It doesn't mention any reason, and the question is asking for a reason. So there is no reason here. Yeah,
Yep.
but I'm very happy with your approach. Your approach is perfect. It's 100% right. Okay, what do you think, Venom?
Oh, yes. I have an answer now. Even I did a mistake. Probably I got the answer by luck because I didn't go through the entire paragraph, neither did I read because I was taking the bus. Nonetheless, I dropped into the last answer, maybe by luck, like about 30%. Well, see the answer. See, they're mainly talking about, how did they stop using cannonballs in bronze statues of fossils because they never talked about they being used the other materials being used to make it weightless. That they never mentioned. So it is wrong.
Yeah,
And
so we will
the
eliminate A.
aesthetic taste of yeah, because they didn't talk about weightless. They didn't talk about weight at all. Next, let's come to C. The aesthetic taste of public had changed over time. No, they didn't talk about that as well.
Yeah,
And
correct.
the cannibals the cannibals added too much weight to the statues. I don't think that as well. In fact, they talked about cannibals stabilizing the structure. They didn't talk about adding weight.
Yeah,
And of course,
exactly.
they gave
It's
a
contrasting
quick
the idea and the
true.
information presented in the passage.
Yes, contradicting. And another thing is that they talked about getting the iron braces. Yeah, they talk. That means it clearly means they found a way to strengthen the statues internally. That's the main concern of having used the bronze the balls in the first place. It's actually to strengthen. And now that we found iron, everything is sorted. It has got nothing to do with aesthetic sense, nor it has got nothing to do with people's choices.
So B
Thank
is the
you.
correct one.
Yes.
Your answer, guys, is amazing. Like you are analyzing the answers like perfectly. This is great. So let's see the explanation. The question tells you to look for the answer in the excerpted paragraph, which is this case is paragraph 2. You do not need to skim the entire passage to find the relevant information. The choice A says that sculptors stop. He's talking about the passage, guys. So he's not talking about the paragraph. This is a paragraph. You don't need to skim the whole passage, which contains 5 or 4 of these paragraphs, 4 other. So he's not talking about the paragraph, he's talking about the passage. Pay close attention here. You need to skim the paragraph, not the passage. The choice A says that sculptors stopped putting cannonballs under the raised legs of horses and statues because they learned how to make the statue weightless and now require support with the leg. The passage does not mention making the statues weightless. It says that sculptors learned a better way to support the weight. So he's not talking about making the statue weightless. It was talking about how to support the weight, but in different form, in different way, without putting the cannonball under the statue, but rather like strengthening it internally. Choice C says that the change occurred only because people's taste changed, meaning that the cannonballs was never structurally necessary. And that directly contradicts the passage. And he didn't mention anything about the public tastes. He's all the talking, all what he was mentioning was about the structure, not the tastes. Choice D says that cannonballs added weight to the statue. This contradicts, which mean this is the verb of like contrast, like completely wrong. The passage, which says that the cannonball was needed to support the weight of the leg of the statue. Choice B correctly identifies the reason the passage gives for the change. Sculptors developed a way to strengthen the statue from the inside, internally, making the cannonballs physically unnecessary. Okay, let's move on to the next question. So the next question is negative factual information questions. So it's a factual information, but in the negative format. These questions ask you to verify what information is true and what information is not true or not included in the passage, based on information that is explicitly and clearly stated in the passage. To answer this kind of question, first locate the relevant information in the passage, then verify that we can locate the relevant information using the skimming technique. Like we will skim the paragraph, find where the relevant information and start eliminating the true answers here because he's asking about not true. So our goal is to find the one that is wrong, that is not true. So, okay, then verify that 3 of the 4 answer choices are true and that the remaining choice is false. So here we will be eliminating the true answers, not the false one. Is the opposite of the factual information. This is why it's called negative factual information. Remember, for this type of question, the correct answer is the one that is not true. Some sets have no negative factual information questions, but others have 1 or 2. How to recognize negative factual information question? You can recognize negative factual information questions because the word not or except, because the word not or except appears in the question in capital letters. According to the passage, which of the following is not true of X? He's asking about the wrong one, the one that is not true. In paragraph X, the author mentions all the following characteristics of Y except. Okay, so he will start listing the correct ones, and there is someone that is not a characteristic, the wrong one. Tips for negative factual information questions. Usually, a negative factual information question requires you to check more of the passage than a factual information question does. And this is common sense, guys. Like, When I ask about the correct one, I just go to the passage and find and look for the correct one. But when I ask about what is not correct and I give you three answer choices that is correct, I have to go to the passage and look for the correct one and start eliminating them to find the wrong one. Okay, you get it?
Yeah.
Okay, this is true because the information relevant to determining the accuracy of the answer choices is often spread across multiple sentences. So it won't be in one sentence, it will be spread across the entire passage, entire paragraph, sorry. So this question is assumed to take more time than the factual information. The negative factual information questions, the correct answer either contradicts information in the passage, it clearly is the opposite. This what this mean. It is the completely the opposite, or expresses information that is not presented in the passage, like it's not even mentioned in the passage. So this makes it wrong. After you finish a negative factual information question, check your answer to make sure you have accurately understood the task. And this is a very important step because a lot of students like mix and they don't differ and they can't like understand the difference and make mistake between the negative factual and the factual. So they just choose the correct one while the question is asking about the wrong one. So they have three answer choices. So the probability of choosing the correct one is very high because there are three of them. So it's very important to note and to pay close attention to the word not and to the word except because this one word can change the whole meaning of the question. So this is a passage observed. Please answer this question and we'll discuss it.
Okay.
I'm done, thank you.
Are you done?
Just a minute. If you give me 1 minute,
Yeah,
please.
yeah. Go for it. I mean for Venom.
Yes, brother, you can take time. I completed.
Yeah, okay. So are you done, Kusai?
Just 1 second. I'm just check the answers.
Okay. We won't focus like on the time now, like it won't be
Okay.
time, but we will focus only on now for now on understanding and answering the correct answer. After this, when we
Uh,
practice intensively, we will focus on the timing. Yeah, also. Yeah.
okay. I will choose D. I will choose D. I go with D.
Okay. D, what do you think, Venu? Venu, do you hear me? Venu,
Uh,
yeah, do you hear me?
oh, okay, okay.
What do you think the correct answer is?
Are we there?
Yeah, yeah. What is the correct answer?
Hello, I can't hear you all.
What is
Hello.
the correct answer? Do you hear me?
Oh, are you asking me?
B?
Are you
Yeah. Yeah.
asking me?
Yes, sir. He asked you, do you have the right answer?
Okay, the answer is D, fourth option.
Oh, okay. D, the last one. Yeah.
He
Yeah, D
said
for
B, like
Denmark.
boy. D. Okay.
Okay. I think both of you are correct. But I want like Kusai explain why D is the correct one and the first three are wrong.
Okay. So I will explain the first, the right one, the true one. Then I can say why the other one is not true.
Like,
So
tell me
A.
your approach, your full approach to the question. How you thought
Okay.
about it, how you solved
Yeah.
it.
So the first thing from the question, when they say according to paragraph number 1, all of the following were true of American art, the late 18th century and early 19th century, except. The first thing I have to notice, except. When they say except, that's mean that's the kind of the question, the negative factual information question. That's the
Great.
first one I have. I, I,
Yeah.
I have to notice. Second, when they say there are three true, and when they say except, that means there are three answers true and one is false. So the first one, when they say most American thought art was important, that's just true because they're saying right here the United States in the 18th century was full of practical, hardworking people who didn't consider the art. When they say they didn't consider the art, that's the art is not important for them.
So
From theater to
this is
painting.
true.
That's for the A.
Yeah, A,
And
we will eliminate it.
yeah, and they give you additional information, more details. Additional, the public's attitude that uh, that Arabian art was better than American art, both discouraged and inflated American artists. They say right here, uh, see, most Americans consider American art inferior to Arabian art. That means the Arabian, they are before, Arabian start art before American, like they have one step ahead. That's the
Yeah, yeah. What
see
is this? What
for
is this
for this part.
exactly? Exactly. Explicitly. Where this was
Uh,
mentioned in the passage, in the paragraph.
when they say American art inferior, I think they are behind. Or give me a second. Oh, yeah, right here. See right here. In the early 19th century, there was a strong feeling among artists that the United States was long overdue. That's why overdue in developing art that they didn't reproduce urban traditional. I think that's a C. And B, when they say American
Okay,
art
this
generally,
is C. You're saying that this is C, okay?
yeah,
But I
yeah, I
think
think
I
that's a
think
C.
this is B. I think this is
This
B,
is
not
B.
C. Yeah, this is B. Because when you explain it, like in the early 90s, there was a strong feeling among artists that the United States was long overdue in developing art that did not
Official
reproduce.
TOEFL material.
how much does it cost in Indian rupees, and how many practice tests are available?
Um, could you please repeat your question? Vino, I
Hello?
didn't, yeah, I didn't hear you well. Could you please repeat?
Okay. I think we'll complete this discussion and then I'll ask you the question.
Oh, okay, that's great.
I'm sorry for interrupting.
Okay, so this sentence is mentioning that the United States state was overdue, long overdue. Overdue in this context means something that is late. Okay,
They are behind. Yeah, they are
yeah,
behind.
behind. And because if we guessed it from the context, the whole meaning is
Hmm.
a negative one. It's talking about the whole paragraph. It's talking about the like disadvantages and the bad things about the American art. So in
Hmm.
developing art that did not reproduce European traditions. So this means that it was actually before the early 90s, before this strong feeling, which is the first step of building the art that is not inferior. It was inferior. It was actually inferior. So this states that it was inferior and it copied the European styles and traditions.
Hmm.
He said this here in developing art that did not reproduce European traditions. So they wanted to solve this problem, but it already existed. Like we are talking about this period, late 80s to early 90s. The problem was still existing, that it was reproducing the European traditions, but they wanted to change it. So they wanted to make one that did not reproduce, but it wasn't made yet. It hasn't been made yet. They will start working on it. So in this period, the late 80s and early 90s, it was already reproducing the European art and traditions. So this is B. What do you think is for C?
Most Americans consider American art inferior to European art. Maybe when they say in addition, the public's attitude that European art was better than American art both discouraged and inflated American artists. Maybe this is B.
Yeah, this is exactly the correct one. Because
This is B,
what
right?
does yeah, what does inferior mean? Inferior means less than. So the American art, most Americans considered American art less than or inferior to European art. And this means that European art was better than the American art. And this is what was explicitly and clearly
I am so
explained
sorry.
here. Yeah.
I'm so sorry. It was not D actually. I was right. I was in bus and my answer was supposed to be C, and I was going on saying D.
Okay, so you think C is the correct?
Because generally, 1 minute. Let me just look quickly, because I just got on the bus and I was in the bus. I was not able to pay attention. Just few
So,
seconds.
okay. So, the C is clearly that um this this is a true of American art. This is not wrong. That they were
No, my
better.
answer was D. I'm sorry. It's right. I
D,
confused. The answer is D. D for Denmark,
B,
as I told
this,
before.
the second one.
Yes, it's D. D for Denmark. D for
D.
dog.
He say D. D like dog.
Yes, I like dog.
Oh, okay. So yeah, your answer is correct. So we are
Yeah.
explaining why
Yes,
these
I'm
are
paying
incorrect.
attention. True.
Okay. So when it's inferior, it is less than. And here, paraphrased like other words but the same meaning, the author is mentioning the European art was better than, which is the same as the American art is less than the European art. So this is mentioned here. So we will eliminate it exactly like what Kusai has said. So we will start. We will D is the remaining, and this is the correct one. Let's read it. American art was very popular with European audiences. What is this in the passage? I didn't read anything about the European audience's attitudes toward the American art. This was not
They
mentioned.
never, yeah, they never mention anything about the popular.
Yeah, yes. So this is the correct one because it's wrong. It falls within the except condition. It is not true about the American art. Do you get it?
I got.
Okay. What do you think, Venom?
Well, I'm pretty convinced with these answers, and I found them easy, and I got an explanation for it. Thank you.
So you understood why the first three are incorrect, are
Oh,
wrong?
of course, yes, yes, it is very
Okay,
clear.
this is great. Let's read
Thank
the
you.
explanation. Sometimes in negative factual information questions, it is necessary to check the entire passage in order to make sure that your choice is not mentioned. What he means about the passage here is the paragraph, okay, not the entire the full passage or the full set. No, he means the paragraph. However, in this example, the question is limited to one paragraph. Oh, okay. Yeah, yeah. But how he says this? He's saying that it is necessary